This is The Focus Group with business insiders Tim Bennett and John Nash.
I fought worse monsters than you for years in Hollywood. I know how to win the hard way.
We're all business, except when we're not.
Don't f with me, fellas! This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
Welcome to The Focus Group. I'm John Nash, and as always, I'm joined by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Tim Bennett. I've added the Mr. on to Tim Bennett. It adds a sense of authority.
Pop this collar up. What should I leave it up or down?
You look good. Collar looks good. And this is an experiment. This is a new shirt from H&M, but it has little marks on it.
Move?
I don't think so.
It looks dark. It looks dark on camera.
Yeah, so far it's holding steady.
If there's one thing you learned this year, you took my advice and wore dark clothes.
That's all I have now. If you open my closet, there's all these
you for
cheap
30
blue
years.
shirts. 30 years.
Camel, lavender, all these things.
Hey, focusgroupradio.com is our website, and if you go there, you'll learn about all the platforms we're on, both audio and video. And in fact, if you're tuning in right now live on Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the show, and feel free to call us anytime during the broadcast and join the conversation. The number here is 877-962-6846. And we always have that number pop up on screen now and then as a reminder to call in, call now.
You can read that? I can't read that. I liked when the type was bigger. But
I'm reading that thing over there.
Oh.
In big black letters.
You told John and Garrett not to make the type so big. Because I like the big type.
Because if they make it too big when you're watching on the web, it's going to look like an enormous plunk of type.
You think?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know so. It's staying the way it is. John's cool. Garrett's got it. Everything's covered. The boys in the booth.
Boys in the booth.
And
Allie.
And Allie. And we're going to have a new show we're going to be doing with them. It's called The Boys in the Booth and Allie.
And Allie.
Big ampersand.
We're going to feature bro jobs.
which we learned that John was sort of
not yet.
By saying not yet meant it possibly was.
He gave a slim chance. There's a slight hope.
Garrett shut it down.
Garrett.
Not having a bro job. Although Garrett defined it perfectly and made us almost drive off the road. We were listening to the repeat of the show, and he's like, it's to help a buddy out.
Well, I was reading because that came up somewhere else. I was reading on something this week about that, and they were talking about how the best place to find somebody for a bro job. And they say it's the Craigslist.
Seriously?
It's Craigslist. And it's usually men whose wives are traveling.
Okay.
Or they're not home. And then it's, as Garrett said, you help a buddy out.
I'm sorry, but that's not a bro, though. You can't. A bro is your friend. You can't just meet some random person. That's just a blow.
He's right, though.
You're right.
He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. You can't have a friend for hire. Although, I just read an article about how in Japan you can hire friends.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do
so
that.
Yeah.
You do that at the
But Garrett's right.
bars.
Bro would be someone you've known for a long time.
Oh, okay. So, well.
And people are bending. That's a bend. That's kind of like Woody Allen. If it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not.
I don't think I have any friends I want a bro job from.
The thought doesn't really cross my mind.
I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it was going to happen, it had happened already.
I'm not so sure.
Right?
Those things, you got to put feelers out for that. You got to,
Do you have any bros you think might?
Not in the current stable. No.
No, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm trying to now that it's been defined for us by the millennials.
The very wise millennials.
Did you vote yesterday?
I did vote. I hope everybody voted, and I shut down a conversation at dinner last night because of it. Because
you voted?
Someone asked, and I said, "Did you vote?" No, we didn't vote.
Well, then you can't talk.
And then Bob says to me, he goes, "Well, I said, did you?" Because I sent them a text. I said, "On your way home, stop at our church. There's a church that's our polling place." I said, it's going to take you no more than 10 minutes. Just vote." I said, "Did you vote?" "No." He goes, "But you voted for me." I said, "No, I didn't. Every vote counts. Right. And if you want to make a change or you complain about the system, you got to vote, right?"
30,000 people said that a year from today, and look what we have.
And Tim was just reminding me before we came on the air that this is the anniversary, and it feels like 100 years have gone by on this reality show we find ourselves in now.
Right, but great news on the election yesterday. I think, where I live in Pennsylvania, and you talked about this as well. Now, you had mayor, though.
We had simple stuff.
But it was county clerks.
It was judges, sort of things. Borough county president, that kind of thing.
But it was very busy, and which they were surprised because for an off year. And I was reading on the way up on the train. I mean, the great thing is the amount of diversity that got elected, a number of trans men and women that got positions. people of color, the very first African-American mayor in
Now-
St. Paul. There's a Sikh that got mayor over in Hoboken. So there's lots of, despite what's going on the national level, kind of at down home on the, boots on the ground, it's one of the most diverse elections.
You and I
ever.
watch a lot of the same talking head crowd, and were they all jumping up and down thinking this was the bellwether for the midterms? I'm so cautious of saying things like that.
Well, people become complacent when you do
Yeah.
that. And Donna Brazile, I don't know. Did you
She
watch?
had a very combative interview on CBS this morning. I think it was yesterday, actually, with Norah O'Donnell and Charlie Rose and Gayle King. She was very defensive of the book and some of the, some of the
She was
things
trying
she
to
had in
backpedal
there.
a little bit. Here's my issue that I've had with the whole Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders thing, and I think I've talked to you about it. Bernie was not
He's
a
an
Democrat.
independent. He caucuses with the Democrats.
He
but he's
left
not-
as soon as he didn't get the nomination. It wasn't like he stayed a Democrat and then went out to try to get Democrats elected or was raising money for the Democratic Party.
No.
So I don't understand why everybody was upset that yes, the DNC may have been
The Democratic National Committee was biased towards a Democratic candidate
for
who's
40 years who's ... fill in the blank. So that I don't understand the whole craziness of Bernie was robbed. Why don't Bernie, run as an independent?
I will
You
say...
really thought he was going to win, run as an independent.
Yeah, I will say that it's quite possible that the midterms next year will reveal more about the electorate, but it's becoming more and more clear from all the reading I'm doing, and what we suspected for a year ago was that for many people, Hillary was just an unappealing candidate. Even though she represented the opposite of, and Trump had a very clear, defined, even though it was like 3 bludgeon points, right? Wall, this.
We'll see.
Hey, he's still got a job, but half of Hollywood's out of one because of the same thing. It's a very strange thing. So, what's happening on the show today?
So when John and I were down at Out and Equal, and again, thanks for, I know it happened about a month, well, it was over a month ago, but
Beginning of October.
we were humbled by the amount of people that came by that were fans of the show or listeners of the show. And one person in particular came up and he had the Mondelez badge on. And any of you that know, Mondelez to John and I means Oreo cookies.
They're one and the same. There's
So-
no Mondelez might as well just make only Oreos.
So he comes up to us and says, "Oh my gosh, I love your show. I saw you guys when you set in for DNR, or listened to you when you set in for DNR." ... And we went right at him and said, "You need to get us cookies," because we've sold and again, and this goes with the listener survey as well. Thank you, everybody. We've sold a lot of Oreos.
Thank you, as Tim said, for everybody who took the Survey Monkey, our listener survey. We'll announce next week the winners of the gift cards we're doing. But the survey the data allows you to do something called word clouds. Ever see a word cloud? It's basically, different size words, and the size of the word is dictated by the percentage of people that answered.
Right.
So there was a question you asked, because Tim designed the survey. I think it was number 3. Have you ever bought something that we talk about? And if yes, you fill it in. Well, the word cloud for that one was Oreos, Volkswagen, DVDs, deep discount.
right.
So those words are all over
Wells
the place.
Fargo.
But Oreo is pretty, for a packaged good, like a cookie, that was pretty significant.
It does not sponsor the show.
Yet.
Chris from Mondelez comes up to us, and we joked with him and said we want to get into the Oreo vault, which is here in Manhattan, because
By the way, do you just look at the cookies or do you eat them?
I don't know, and that's why we want to get in. I think it's secret. But the original Oreos in 1912 were made here in Chelsea.
That's from your fact sheet.
From the fact sheet. So that's probably why this vault is here in Manhattan. So anyway, lo and behold, he sent us a package of yet-to-be-released cookies. Mm-hmm. So after our first break, we're going to try them with the boys in the booth and alley. And they're 2 new flavors.
That's the new Boys in the Booth.
Boys in the booth. And so there's 2 new flavors, and we'll announce them when we do the bit, so you'll have to stay tuned. That's a teaser. Mm-hmm.
In case you didn't know.
But 2 new flavors. One's going to be released right before Valentine's Day, and one's going to be released right before Easter. They're not yet packaged. They're not yet really named.
It's hilarious because Tim brought the, right before we went on air, Tim showed me what the packaging is, and it's totally this plain, it looks like the same rip-off thing, but it's just white with a nutrition label on it and some like printed,
Yeah.
the name of the cookie and the date it was made or something, right from the labs.
Right. Well, whether it's true or not, we're calling it a worldwide debut right here on the focus group. We're
Worldwide.
but he did say in his note that we were one of a very select few that has got our hands on these. So before Hoda, before Kathy Lee, before The View, before the Today
Do it
Show,
this way, before Hoda.
before all the little talking heads in the morning that do the tastings as well. We've been doing tastings for years.
I don't know if anybody.
We used to dance before Ellen too, by the way. But
if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, whenever Tim used to do this all the time at Sirius too. He'd hold up a finger in the booth, and we call it the teaching finger. It's like we're the only ones that do, like, and it only arrives at certain moments to make a point.
Or when I would go on a tirade, I did laugh the first time, but when Matt Bogart would play the theme for Andy Griffith Show,
That's when you go on your soapbox.
but it was so folks like dude.
Dude, yeah, one day Tim was doing this thing. You were talking about something.
Oh, I was
and you went
ranting like an
off,
old
and then
lady.
suddenly underneath your voice comes the. And it was so perfect, and we all start laughing.
And I even
because-
laughed.
Yeah, because you're on your soapbox, you're doing your thing.
So cookie tasting.
Cookie tasting, and then Tim found a really fun article about the best ways to respond to an insult in a professional environment, and it's using Steve Jobs from 1997,
Yeah.
where someone asked him a very multi-leveled and nasty question, and how he responded to it was actually a good roadmap for how you can respond to something that might
Did
happen.
you agree?
I thought he did a great job.
Okay.
Yeah, did you agree too, or
I did, yeah, kind of. But I did.
he did?
It's
he
not
did,
my approach, but
Oh.
I don't have a good approach.
You have an approach.
I have an approach. It's probably not the preferred method, but
You
I
have
an
the approach Bob has.
So when somebody does something like that to me, I usually try to throw them right off guard.
Yeah,
Right?
and that's like Bob's rule. You hit me hard. You hit me, I'm going to hit you back harder.
Back harder.
That's Trump.
And I had a
against
couple
you,
of
right?
examples we can go through two of my favorites, which I think I've shared with you before. But there's two because this is what he did, or what Steve Jobs did in this article, or as it was explained, is a lot like what a politician does and how you answer a question. You answer the question you want to have had asked, not what was asked of you.
That's the part, and when we get to that, that's the part that I kind of scratched my head at, and then I realized, and I had to reread what he said to realize that he did kind of start, and then he ended up
Yeah.
crowbarring it into the area he wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anyway, we'll let that for. Anything else happen this week?
I had a horrible customer service, which I posted on the
With
Facebook.
who?
United Airlines. I had bought. So I've had a United card forever, and when I used to live in Chicago and lived out west, United was a hub at a lot of airports.
And it was a fine airline to fly too.
So I
by
used to
the
fly
way.
them all the time, and I have close to, I think it's 900,000 miles on
You'll never
the card or
use
whatever,
all
which
those
you can't
points.
use. I've tried. I've given points away to people. I gave some to my nieces and sister-in-law, my mom back in the day to do flights and whatever. But so I thought, I'm going to get e-gift cards. They keep getting this solicitation: use your points, use your points. And I thought I might as well use them. I'm not going to
true.
use them for anything else. So I go on to get e-gift cards, and after the second one, I got closed out for fraud because I ordered, I guess, too many, two. So.
I like your comic timing there. I ordered too many. Two.
So I call,
So
which
three
was
would have put you in prison, I guess.
a horrible experience. I don't think I spoke to one person that was in North America.
Oh, okay.
Their names were like Fran and Frank and Fred.
That's written on a piece of paper above their
I am,
computer.
I
you
don't-
know.
I don't even
Oh.
want to make fun of it. I'll get in trouble. But
My name is Jesse.
yeah. What's your last name? They did not give me one. So
Not to be rude, but
that's
folks,
what
this happens. This is what it.
so they said. So I call United. They tell me I have to call the bank. I call the bank. The bank says no. You have to call
The bank is the issuer of the credit. Okay.
Chase Manhattan Bank. I said, there's nothing to do with Chase. I'm using my miles. No, you got to call the bank. The bank says, no, it has nothing to do with us. You have to call Mileage Plus. The woman just says, I really can't help you. You can send an email. We'll get back to you in 10 days. And I said, that's absurd. I said, there's no one there that understands how this program works. So they bumped me up to a supervisor, Fred, equally as bad. And
Well, that's because he sat right next to the first
tells me the
person.
same thing, that it's going to take 7 to 10 days. I said, I wanted to give these cards as gifts tomorrow or Monday. I don't have 10 days. So I did send 3 notes to this, and it was some obscure email address like agent@security.united, blah, blah, blah. Yet to hear from them. Haven't heard from United yet. I sent the emails on Saturday, and I'm so aggravated and so frustrated that
These points programs,
United is a shitty airline anyway. I mean, they've really
they
gotten
used
bad.
to not be. I used to fly United twice a
flew them all the
month
time.
to San Diego, and that was the story I told you once where I have this, when a cabin pressurizes incorrectly or quickly, I get these like ice pick headaches. And I've talked to other travelers who get this as well. And San Diego is one of those airports where the plane comes in and it literally drops because the airport's in the middle of the city. It's an old Air Force base. So I'm flying in first. We had our ice cream sundae. You remember how before they
Back in the day, yeah.
back in the day, United used to serve like an ice cream cart. came
Charcuterie would
around.
come down. You'd get the yeah.
And this is like
all kinds
40
of great
minutes before
stuff.
landing. You want your sundae? Sure. Who doesn't want a sundae? We land. I get that ice pick thing. I'm sweating. I had a suit and tie on, and the steward in the cabin who had this hair that was pulled, like combed back, and then like it kind of combed into a bun, some kind of basket weave in the back. But he was on our team. He was playing on our team. Super nice. Plane lands. I'm sitting there like people are getting up, and I'm just sitting there. And he comes out. I've told this before, with a bottle of wine wrapped in a napkin. He goes, "This is for you, Mr. Nash." And I said, "Oh, thank you." He said, "I noticed you had a bad landing." I said, "Oh, it's this thing. Oh, it's the pressurization. It's a 737. It happens to some people." Guy next to me from Texas, "Why don't I get a bottle of wine?" And the steward just looks like deadpan. He goes, "You're not gay." So I thought, oh, I'm called out and I'm getting free
How did
wine.
the steward know you were gay? You
That's
chat him up the whole way across continent.
let's put it this way. He nailed it. So I didn't question. And that was the magical trip, because then I get in the car, go to the Grand Torrey Pines, which is a hotel that was in front of the golf course along the coast. It's in San Diego. It's been renamed. I had stayed there multiple times. I go in and I say to the guy, I had a really bad flight. I said, "Hey, can I get a room that doesn't have a palm tree right in front of the patio, so I could see the, oh. So I had one bag. I was there for a day trip. I was overnight. And the guy brings the bellhop over. They put the one bag on a cart. And
Did you tip him?
Yeah. We start walking down this hallway. It's like The Shining. The cart's going and going and going and click, 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 click. And I said, "Any one of these on?" "Oh, you don't know where you're going, do you?" We went to the end of the hall. They opened the double doors, and they gave me like a suite. It was a living room, dining room, a lanai with those heaters on it, a hot tub, a kitchen, and a bath and a half.
Did you use the hot tub?
I did use the hot tub, but I didn't use anything else.
Walk around nude and anything, enjoy it?
Well, I did watch a James Bond movie, and I had this fantasy that I ordered room service, and I had this fantasy that the person delivering the room service was going to be some hot room service guy. Turned out to be a very handsome guy. And he comes in, he goes, "Oh, you're watching Goldfinger."
Get in here.
"Oh, I'm watching Goldfinger. Let me show you a Goldfinger."
I got a euro with your name on it.
This Euro's got your name on it. In here. Close that door. All
Yes,
right.
Mr. Weinstein.
All right. What caught your eye?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
I had two little quick ones here. I actually had a lot of them this week. I could have done a whole show of Caught My Eyes.
We should do a whole show of Caught Your Eye, right?
So the first one, it's the title is "Make America Great Again." And it says, "Dog owner finds exact image of President Trump in her pet beagle's ear."
Oh, look at that little beagle. I love beagles, by the way.
So the beagle's name, there he is there. Isn't he adorable? Looks like my Trixie a little bit.
Yep.
So there's President Trump, and the beagle's name is Chief.
Chief. Is
So
this in
the-
the U.S. or somewhere else in the
It was
world?
Britain.
Britain, okay.
So the internet went crazy this week with amusement when a picture emerged appearing to show the inside of the dog's ear that struck a remarkable resemblance
oh,
of President
my
Trump.
God.
So the pooch is a 2-year-old beagle named Chief, and achieved internet fame, blew up the internet, had 13,000 retweets and 32,000 likes in like a day. The dog's owner was revealed as a person named Jade Robinson. She said, "If it makes you feel any better, my pooch is called Chief, and he's adorable." They said this isn't the first time the president's face has been spotted in unusual places. Apparently
cheeky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently this Halloween, lots of pictures emerged of pumpkins that look like Trump.
That is a riot, Tim.
And in July, right here on the Facebook, we also did where a lot of the drug dealers
Do
were doing
beagles
Molly and making Molly look like the president.
They
Remember
stamp
that?
it.
You
Do
stamp it, right?
beagles have like, it's like a Trixie ear, so
Yeah, you fold it over. So, of course, now the president is busy in Asia on his tour, but so I thought that was kind of funny. It does look like him. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or
I think
you're
it's
watching
hilarious.
a video
I
feed,
think it's hilarious.
that's the inside of the dog's ear. Doesn't it look like Trump? The
It's-
hair and everything.
So if you're not able to see us on YouTube or Facebook, as Tim said, it's kind of like a three-quarter profile, and it's made up of just the flesh of the ear. It's very, very funny.
So that's the first one.
That's a good one. Thank you for that.
The other one also revolves around animals.
Oh.
And this headline is Kenyan official. So the country of Kenya.
Well, does Kenya have officials?
Well,
Okay, that's why the air quotes, the Kenyan
So,
official.
so it says homosexual lions learned it from copying gay tourists.
Oh, that's the official in a pink tie.
So the officials there,
He looks sharp in his pink tie, right?
he's quite a scholar. So he's so the headline, as I said, homosexual lions learned it from copying gay tourists.
And how would
Probably they've been influenced by gays who have gone to our national parks and behaved badly. So this was just 2 days ago. This was in the paper. It says, after a wildlife photographer reported seeing male lions pretend to mate in a Kenyan safari, a government official claimed the two lions had copied it from all the gay men that visit the park.
God almighty.
So they've been influenced by the gays who have gone to our parks and behaved badly, tweeted Ezekiel Mutawa. He's the head of the Kenyan Film Classification Board. I don't know. They must have copied it somewhere, or it's demonic. These animals don't watch movies. He's a brilliant, smart guy that says they don't watch
Is
movies.
this the same country that I read about years ago that had the caravan that traveled around and showed the natives like American musicals like Oklahoma and Showboat and stuff? Okay, anyway.
We're not sure how many gay tourists are rushing to Kenya game parks, he said. Not only is homosexuality, however, punishable by up to 14 years in jail in the country, but a judge ruled last year that forced anal exams are constitutional in Kenya. Now, I went to Kenya.
Oh, yes. Did
they-
you ever?
and they put
This was
us-
not one of your favorite trips.
No, you know, the
It should have been.
comrade.
It should have been.
The
It was
comrade loved it, but there was a number of us, and they purposefully did not let, even though
Single
they would
male.
not let men stay with men in the rooms. So it was great for Chris and I because she and I had honeymoon suites. We had all kinds of great rooms. They thought we were on our honeymoon. But that was really, really weird. So he says Mutaya insists that these lovebirds, which are seen in the Masai Mara, needed counseling. He suggests they also round up all the animals and test them because he can't figure out. He said they must be demonic and they've got some spirit that's inflicted them. And the animals have caught it. He needs to isolate all the crazy gay animals and study their behavior. He said the only time you should copulate is for procreation, which blew up the Twitter feed, and people said, really? Is that the only time you have sex is to procreate? So he said this is just the latest example of homophobia, rapid homophobia in Kenya. Last month, Mutaya banned the Disney Channel show Andy Mack because one of the characters came out as gay. This says any attempt to introduce gay programming into Kenya will be met with the full force of the law, he told the Nairobi News. The sex behavior of these lions, so he goes on and on. Now, when I was in Nairobi, and I got stuck in a hotel, because you can't leave your hotel because you'll get attacked by feces in the street. So, it's a beautiful city. So,
charming architect. Architectural walks are a must in Nairobi, right?
Don't do it. So, I'm sitting there in the hotel, and guess what was on? No lie, 24/7. There was a channel. The only thing it played was Jerry Springer. So I'm reading this.
Are you serious,
Yeah.
Springer?
Yeah, so that was their insight into America. That was the only thing that, and there were a couple of others, CNN and a few things, but Jerry Springer was on nonstop. And so when I read,
Did Springer have Steve-O?
yeah.
He was like the
used to-
bouncer
right,
guy that got his
bouncer,
own
Steve,
show.
the ball guy. But
That was their...
that was their impression of America. But I laugh this because he says, now, how many times have you seen the trans, the bi, the gay, the whatever on Springer and all the fights and everything? So I thought this was hilarious because he says that that they're not, any attempt to introduce gay programming into Kenya will be met with the full force of the law. Have you watched your own TV?
As he's tying his pink tie. I keep going back to his pink tie. Not that there's anything wrong with pink, but if you're going to be a rabid homophobe,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to adopt that color. Excellent.
Anyway, it's easier to go to the zoo if you want to go see animals. So what they do is they take you on these safaris, And
Anyway, it's
a 16
easier to go to Six Flags.
Six Flags and take the 45-minute drive and see the rhino, the giraffe, the hippo, the lion, and the water buffalo.
There you go. Five big
Well
animals.
done. Otherwise, you're out there with a bunch of Eastern Europeans, Russians, everybody's out there in these little vans. They take you to a safari store, make you buy
cameras.
stuff. I'm giving you the 30-second version. And then you drive around, it's like, lion, cheetah over at the... And then they all drive, all these
masse.
tour companies en masse. You got your hats on. I'll have to post a picture of me in my hat and vest. And then you get there, and there's the cheetah. And then it's like, buffalo over there. And then they all drive. And I said, I got 10 days of this. I could have gone off Route 6. I could have gone off exit 6 on the turnpike, and I'd have done it in 45 minutes. No, I flew 16 hours and coach.
And you could have done a roller coaster on top of it. Right. You could have done a park and a safari.
Now that I shit-canned Africa.
No, you
caught your eye.
Just Kenya. There's a whole big continent you didn't do yet, but we'll get to that. We'll get to
going.
That. Excellent caught your eyes. I could see why they in fact caught your eye. So what caught my eye is a piece that Politico ran. It was written by Tim Alberta, massively entertaining, and it was a series of interviews that he conducted with John Boehner, former Speaker of the House. And Boehner doesn't hold back, and in honor of our guest from last week, Kim Scott, who wrote Radical Candor, the candor part is all over this interview with John Boehner. So this article, there's two, the Political article, and then there's a second one that was called 24 of the Most Amazing John Boehner Quotes in One Amazing John Boehner Story. Now, I kind of like John Boehner.
He was every guy's guy, right?
He's a guy's guy. You know, okay, he cried now and then, but that's okay.
I do too.
Tears are okay.
You ever cry?
But he...
I don't think I've seen you cry.
I've cried. Yeah, I cried when a cat, when Kubi went away. Oh, but
The last time.
Could be. The ducks are dry.
Tough.
The tear ducts are dry. So I'll just give you a sampling of some of the quotes from his article. One of them is, if I was going to die from smoking cigarettes, I'd already be dead. And why is this? Because Boehner smokes 2 packs a day and he's 67. He's right. Here's another one.
He was the guy that looked like, what was the George Hamilton with the tan,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He's always got a good tan, looks sharp.
Yeah. Well, his life nowadays is he actually, he wakes up every morning, he has a cigarette at the front, at the sink, and he says to himself, hallelujah, I'm not in D.C., and he cuts the grass. The grass must be perfectly manicured.
Cigarette.
Here's one. Another one is, F. Jordan, and I'm saying that, and to truncate it, and F. Chavez. They're both assholes. He's referring to Jim Jordan of Ohio and former Rep. Jason Chavez of Utah that Boehner is referring to. They were founders of the House Freedom Caucus, an influential bloc, and is someone with whom Boehner repeatedly clashed in his time as Speaker. Chavez, who left Congress earlier this year for a job at Fox News, surprise, surprise, is talented but selfish, according to Boehner, a total phony. Let's see what else I picked here. Oh, here's a good one. You're going to be a fat ass. You can imagine in the halls of the Capitol, you're going to be a fat ass. That's Boehner's advice to Representative Patrick McHenry when the then Speaker saw the North Carolina Republican eating an ice cream sandwich.
You're going to be
a fat ass. Here's one I loved. DeLay and I were never close. Matter of fact, half the stab wounds in my back are from him.
Ooh.
Tom DeLay, who spent years as House Majority Whip, is not likely to be on Boehner's Christmas card list. And here's one. F you. This is a great one. So this is like F. He shouts this at someone in the article. Boehner's response to Alaska GOP Rep. Don Young after Boehner says Young held a 10-inch knife to his throat in a dispute over earmarking. You gotta hand to Alaska a 10-inch Bowie knife, and Boehner's like, F you. Get that knife out of here.
Don't you wish they were this candid when they're in office?
It would make a world of difference. Make a world of difference, man. Okay, here's some more. He had more gay staff than anybody I knew at a time when it was a bit unusual.
What's that, I wonder?
That's Boehner's take on the revelations that Dennis Hastert, the man under whom he served as Speaker, had molested a number of young men during his days as a high school wrestling coach. And then the author said, that is a very odd quote. It is sort of an odd quote, right? Like, he had more gay staff than anybody I knew at a time when it was kind of a little bit unusual. All right, let's see.
Larry Craig, maybe.
Here's one. He's the most miserable son of a bitch I've ever had to work with. Now, who do you think he's talking about? He's the most miserable son of a bitch.
Mitch O'Connell.
Boehner on Texas Senator Ted Cruz,
Oh.
whom he blames for forcing the government shutdown to benefit his own political future.
We've heard that from others, right?
Oh
They don't
yeah,
like him.
yeah. And then I didn't put this on the deck, but here's one: the president, the vice president, Reid, Pelosi—they're all sitting there with the biggest shit-eating grins on their faces that you've ever seen because they can't believe we're this effing stupid. Boehner was not a big fan of the 2013 government shutdown, and all the Democrats like, you own this, baby. So here's one I like. Boehner quote. So 43 says, and he's referring to the 43rd president, 43 says, hey, are you talking to Ryan? Are you giving him advice? I said, yeah, if he calls, I give him advice. And he texts me back, he needs to call you more.
So that was Bush.
Boehner is recounting to a reporter a text exchange with former President George W. Bush about Speaker Paul Ryan. And it doesn't paint Ryan in a good light. Let's see, did we have any more? I think that was the last
That's
one.
funny.
Here's one. What a show. What a shit show. Banner on the current state of politics. So I urge you to visit Politico for that one because it's a fun article and you get a sense of a guy who is so disappointed that no one can compromise or have conversations. He was a lot of what he did was in the cloakroom, right?
Yeah.
Like before they went on the floor, hey, you do this, I do this, you give me that, I'll give you that. That seems to be missing now. But
Well,
that's what.
and he said that he's afraid that it was. I think you had said it over lunch that it's probably he oversaw the end of the two-party system, right?
That's a quote. He said they'll be talking about the end of the two-party system, and this is Boehner's prediction of how his speakership will be remembered as in history books as one of the last speakers that had sway over actual two whole parties.
Wow.
There you go.
All right, so we got our birthdays.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So, John, we had an embarrassment of riches. I think a couple of weeks ago it took me. I had to go a week in or a week out to find a business birthday. There's 3 today, and they were so. I don't think we might have done one of them a long time ago, but they were so interesting to me. I decided to do all 3, and they're quick. The first one is Tom Anderson. Do you know him? Did you look
No.
ahead in the deck?
I saw 1 or 2 of the pictures, but I'm not sure.
He was born today, November 8th, in 1970. He's 47 today. He's the co-founder of the social networking website MySpace.
Oh, well, MySpace is like tumbleweed now, right?
Well, yeah. So he founded
it was
it
big.
in 2003 with Chris DeWolf. He was later president of MySpace and an advisor for the company until he left in 2009. He was popularly known as Tom from MySpace because until 2010, he would automatically be assigned as your first friend for any new MySpace people that signed on. And as a teenager, this was interesting, I thought. He was a computer hack, and he had broke into the Chase Manhattan Bank, which they had an FBI raid at his house.
Are you serious?
So they raided his house because of that, and then he was not arrested because he was so young. He was only 14. And but I was trying to figure out now. So they sold MySpace Smart in 2005 for $580 million.
Oh yeah.
And as I said, he stayed on a little bit till 2009. And now he said he likes change. He's enjoying retirement. He's trying his hands at other things. But
47's retired.
well, if you got $580 million, wouldn't you retire?
I'd be yeah. But he can stay active, I suppose. So
He likes change, does things. The other guy is Whipple Van Ness Jones.
Whipple Van Ness Jones.
He's either an adult film star or a cowboy. Whip Jones. What do you think? Born in 1909. You know him? You know the name? I never knew the name. He's an ski industry pioneer, founder, developer of the original operator of the Aspen Highlands.
We should have known this. I learned how to ski in Aspen, by the way.
So he was the builder and owner of the Aspen Highlands, one of the 4 ski areas in Colorado. He was also a philanthropist. He was inducted into the Colorado Ski Hall of Fame and Aspen Hall of Fame. The interesting thing about him, he was innovative for his time, and a lot of people have nostalgia for the marketing he used to do to lure people to the Highlands with the promise of fun.
Did you ever ski down?
Yeah.
There was a terrifying run down to the town from the top. I remember I didn't do that ever. It was like, oh my God.
Well, apparently he was famous for one of the first from the marketing effort to do the après ski and have wine and cheese parties.
God bless Whipple Van Ness.
So in 1992, he was the longest continuous owner of any ski area in Colorado. He donated this is what I found odd. He donated the Aspen Ski Highlands to Harvard University.
The actual
The whole
deed,
thing. He gave it to him. It was
as an
worth
endowment?
Right. It was an $18.3 million gift.
wow.
And they said at the time it was one of the largest gifts Harvard ever received. So I had two questions. One of them being, I can't believe $18.3 million is the biggest gift, or one of the biggest gifts Harvard ever got. They've got a multi-billion-dollar endowment.
Yeah.
The other thing was, what the heck did they want to do with a ski resort unless they just sell it and collect the money?
Unless they make money off it every year somehow,
Yeah.
and that's like an annuity,
Loss
right?
leader.
It's
And then the last one, I'm sure, is probably your favorite. Born on this day, November 8th in 1836, Milton Bradley.
of the board game, Milton Bradley.
Business magnate, game
Okay.
pioneer and publisher, credited by many with launching the board game industry in the U.S. He started out doing lithographs. He was a printer, and he printed and sold images of a little-known Republican presidential candidate, Abraham Lincoln.
Seriously? Okay.
What happened was he sold all these lithographs. They were a great success until when people actually started seeing pictures of Lincoln. Lincoln had grown a beard, and all his lithographs were clean-shaven.
Beardless,
Everybody wanted their money back, so he lost all his money, had to burn all the
Are you
lithographs.
serious?
They weren't worth anything. So he decided to go into the gaming, but he had an idea about doing board games. So his first board game was the Checkered Game of Life. It was an instant success. It sold out in its first
the
run.
Game of Life.
Right here in New York City, in a 2-day visit, he sold 700 copies in 1861, and then he sold another 45,000. It said it followed a similar structure to American and British predecessors. I didn't realize this. They said you would advance based on social virtues and vices such as influence or poverty. Which I didn't. So it was. So they said board games were all done about virtues.
Virtue and Vice. Those are the two.
So they said, while the structure differed from previous games to a certain extent, Bradley's games embraced a radically different concept of success because he would add in.
Okay, so Tim just put up, if you're not watching and you're listening, he put up a picture of some of the games I had as a kid. I had all these games: Operation, Stratego, Candyland. Did you put Clue up here? There's the Game of Life. We didn't really play Life too much.
No.
Oh, and Battleship. D4. Hit. You sunk my battleship. And that was the classic Remember the two plastic boxes?
So they said he just find success in secular terms of any of these games, which he would depict life as a quest for accomplishment. So these games are supposed to teach you about accomplishment with a virtue a personal virtue at the end. And they said this complemented America's burgeoning fascination with obtaining wealth and the casual relationship between character and wealth.
I love that. Is it the casual relationship?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, the causal.
Causal relationship.
Causal relationship.
Yeah. In other words, good character got you to wealth.
Right.
They were trying to make that link.
And they said it also helped as we became more after World War II and we had more leisure time. The other interesting thing, you mentioned the games there that he had there, but he was also the first to introduce standardized watercolor sets. He had a fascination with color. And as it worked
So
with
you would buy a kit.
education of the watercolors.
The colors would be all like, these are the standard colors
Yep.
you could wear. Oh, interesting.
And then he also was the very first to release crayon packages way before Binney and Smith, which we know the Crayola crayons. And they said, as I said, he had an interest in art. And he's in the industry Hall of Fame and National Investors.
Oh, I would think so. Those are cool business birthdays.
So there were 3 of them, which I thought was odd.
So all of these guys were conceived in March. So I think they're all East Coast babies. Tail end of the winter. Oh, honey, we're bored out of our minds.
No, the other guy, the first one, Tom Anderson from MySpace, is California.
California. Well, it's March. What are we going to do? Well, there's nothing to do. Let's go into the bedroom, okay? And then 9 months later, you have a captain of industry. So, oversimplifying it.
When were you conceived?
I'm definitely I must be a New Year's baby. It might be one of the few times
Once a year.
parents said, like, yeah, well, trust me. I talked to my mom about that, and I got this answer that really made my head spin. She's like, we had it 3 times. It yielded you, the 2 girls. I might have been a bonus round in there. I was like, whoa, too much information.
God bless Carol.
Yeah, as your parents age, more and more come out. You go to a lunch and suddenly you're hearing things you never thought you'd want to hear, but
Maybe
you do
wanna
want to
hear.
hear. But you do
Well,
want.
you
Yeah.
probably do, because you always throw the net out.
Well, always cast that net far and wide. Hey, Deep Discount is a partner of ours here on the Focus Group, and they're a wonderful partner. We love working with them. Deep Discount can be accessed. You can go to their site through our site, focusgroupradio.com. Click on their logo. It's a shark, but I always make a pirate sound. Arr! And Tim likes to say, and I like your language for this, if you do that, we get credit for it, and we like getting credit for sending you to Deep Discount through our site. Site-wide sale in November, which means for Tim and I, gloves are off. We could have fun, and I definitely decided to not. I did end up picking a movie.
Because you can't help yourself.
I can't help but you'll see what I picked. But I ended up picking toys as I went to the toys page, and I ended up finding a bunch of fun stuff. So deepdiscount.com has CDs, DVDs, books, toys, apparel, vinyl, electronic equipment, turntables. There's all sorts of things there, and just have fun. Just
lottery tickets, stamps,
goldfish,
gasoline.
goldfish. So the first thing that I found was something called Funko Pop. It's these little vinyls, little characters that people collect. Well, what made me laugh about this is it's so perfectly done because of the way the cartoon is done. It's Ike Broflovsky from South Park. Ike, the baby, the head that. Oh, those are the Yoda lights. There's a different one there, John.
Different link.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get to the lights in a second. But they had a whole, see how it's perfect?
Right.
Because they're made of paper, right? And so Ike, how their head would move like Terrence and Phillip, the two Canadian guys on South Park. So that's the first thing I thought would be a fun little gifty. It's cheap. I think it's like $3 or $4. And they have a whole series of Star Wars products and Marvel and DC. And then the other thing that John had up a minute ago was this light set. And I didn't realize there's a whole bunch of these. So these are Yoda. They're Funko. They're these Yoda lights.
Hang those on the porch.
Christmas tree or outdoor, indoor. I actually gave my friend Adrian, who gave us our last 2 Oreos, I gave him a set of R2-D2 light, like a light string. He said his girlfriend was going to kill me. He goes, oh, she's going to kill me.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Well, we do. We're Star Wars fans. And then last pick for me was a movie. It's on Blu-ray, and it's called Forbidden Planet. And it stars Leslie Nielsen as a very young Leslie Nielsen, Walter Pidgeon. It is the forerunner of the DNA of this movie has been woven into a lot of science fiction films. Have you ever seen it? It's Robbie the Robot.
I'll be sure to miss it.
The boys in the booth love this when you get the little ding, ding, ding. I'll be sure to miss it.
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. It's fantastic on Blu-ray. If you've ever seen the movie when you're growing up, get it on Blu-ray. Watch it end to end. It holds up really well, and it's something that I definitely love. So that's my picks. And what'd you pick?
I like the gift of music.
I like the gift of music. Boom.
So, as John mentioned, Deep Discount has lots of different types of product. And so I picked 2 because I took your lead last week. You picked some
the
CDs.
Pet Shop Boys, yeah.
So I picked 2 CDs, and here's why I picked them. The first one was Ella Fitzgerald, and it's Ella Wishes You a Swinging Christmas. And many years ago, I used to go to Tower Records and buy a dozen of these.
Give them
this
away?
time of year, and when I would go to someone's house at the holiday time, I would
Great
give
idea.
instead of giving a bottle of wine or
Great idea.
or a pound of coffee or some sort of hostess gift or whatever for holiday parties, I would give them this CD. And it's the one thing where I either hear from the people later on or get a note to say it's our favorite
Christmas
holiday
CD.
time CD. It is fantastic. I could not believe the price on Deep Discount. I think it was $3.99. I remember paying close to $20 for these back in the day. But it holds up well if you want it. Obviously, CD players, everybody has them in their cars. It's great for this time of year. But it is really great at a home to put on if you're having people over for the holidays.
Mr. Tim Bennett, you have the cleverest ideas. So this as a housewarming present ranks up
Or
there.
as a hostess gift at the holidays.
So you know what, another one I'm remembering, a couple weeks ago, we were doing a Deep Discount segment, and you talked about buying Planet Earth, the BBC show, and you said, I put that on the TV, but I don't put the soundtrack on. I'll play whatever music, but it's
Beautiful.
these gorgeous images. You're very clever.
So, and it's got all the great Christmas hits, Sleigh Ride and Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Jingle Bells, ... So it is a great thing to do, and you can get it at Deep Discount. As I said, I believe it even shows there on the link if you're watching. I think it's $3.99 or whatever the price is. It's good. The second one is something...
Whatever the price is, it's good. It's Deep
good.
Discount.
Well, it's hard to find. The other thing is a very hard to find CD that we've even had people from our show passed on Sirius XM when we would use little clippets when we were allowed to use music. And this is called Oreo. and it's ABBA Oro, meaning ABBA Gold, and it's all their hits sung in Spanish that they've done in Spanish. So it's
Whoa. Now, for them to sing
ABBA's singing it in Spanish. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's hard to find. I was shocked when I saw it here at Deep Discount, but
Did you specifically go on looking for this?
Yeah, I went looking around because it's a hard to find album, and this is another thing that I give as a gift to people. Everybody loves ABBA, but this you put it on. So, for instance, Dancing Queen is called La Reina de Ballet, and or Chiquita, Fernando. Gracias por la música. Thank you for the music. Dame, 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 which is gimme, gimme, gimme. Mamma Mia.
Hey, John, could you scroll down just a little bit below? I see an album that just makes me go back in time.
ELO?
And it's ELO. Is that Out of the Blue? Oh, I love that. Was a gatefold album. You know, I would love to get that a gatefold again. Anyway, so Oro.
Or it's ABBA Gold in English, and they have an English version which is ABBA Gold, but they did ABBA Oro, and they also have other Spanish language. But it's ABBA. They're singing it in Spanish. It's the music we all know. But it's cool because it's just a different way to experience the music and live it all again. So Ella Fitzgerald's Have a Swinging Christmas and ABBA Oro were my two picks.
This particular show, I'm going to be putting an order together for almost everything we talked about because...
Even Forbidden Planet?
I own that.
Oh, of course you do.
I own that in standard DVD and I own it in Blu-ray. That's why I'm recommending it. Anyway, I'm so crazy. But we have a release.
Oh, gosh, I forgot
And this is the one thing Tim and I talked about the other day on the phone. So this week at Deep Discount, you could pick up The Crown Season 1. Now, if you haven't seen it on Netflix, or if you have, I urge you to pick it up on Blu-ray, and I'll tell you why. Cinematic quality, they put a lot of work into the set and the costumes, and it's a great production. We've watched it end to end at least 2 or 3 times. And I don't know if you know this, but the guy that wrote the movie The Queen, Peter Morgan, also wrote The Crown.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wrote The Crown.
Well, then it's great.
And so I highly recommend picking, even if you have Netflix, pick up The Crown at deep discount. You'll love it.
My breakout character in that whole series so far is Winston Churchill.
Oh, John Lithgow, who played. He did a terrific job. It's a great series.
Yeah, I love it. So be sure to head over to focusgroupradio.com and be sure to then click on the Deep Discount logo and start shopping away because, as John says, we like to get credit for it. Right, Garrett?
Thanks, Deep Discount.
So it's Tim Bennett and John Nash here at the Focus Group. As promised, when we come back, it's the Focus Group worldwide debut of 2 new flavors of Oreo. Oreo cookies that will be released in early 2018. John and I got our hands on them, thanks to Chris at Mondelez. And after this quick break, we're all going to try them and let you know what we think. So stay with us.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do it.
Welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett, as promised. Thanks to our listener, Chris, who we saw at Out and Equal, works for Mondelez, the parent company that creates, in Garrett's words from many shows ago, the perfect cookie.
The perfect cookie.
It's the chocolate sandwich. It's the chocolate wafers with the cream inside. We all grew up with them. I love Oreos. So, Chris...
and it's been the #1 selling cookie since its introduction in 1912.
Tim did a whole bunch of fun stuff.
Way too much.
We have a ton of notes. Yes, since 20... Was it
1912.
1912.
It was launched as an to
Hydrox.
with Hydrox, which I always thought came after.
I did too. I didn't know they were... Yeah. So... Chris sent us flavors that are not going to be available. So, John, do you have that lower third that we have there? I created a little... There, look, Tim. Worldwide Focus Group debut.
That worked. Focus Group wrong. I'm teasing you.
John and
Did
Garrett.
you see Nash's face?
Did you see? Everything came to a stop, and I proofread the damn thing. I tell you, Bennett, I could know him. How long? We've known each other for how many years? You still can get me.
Brake slammed right on. Should we start again?
No, so that's our little, we call that graphic a lower third.
Let me just read you what he wrote before you open the bag there. He said, "Hi, Tim and John. As promised, enclosed are 2 full packs of new flavored Oreos. Flavors so new, they don't even have real packaging yet." So you show them the white.
Yeah, so it's like the mystery Oreo.
They're not set to debut in the marketplace until 2018. So here, you guys are the first or one of the first to get your hands on these and get to consume them. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know what you think. So what's the first one?
First one is called Hot and Spicy Cinnamon. The package features the classic black cookie stuffed with a red cream center, flavored like cinnamon candy. It's essentially, you said, a Fireball Oreo without the alcohol.
Yeah, so I did find a perspective. Is that what the right word is? Or potential packaging. I think there's a slide there with them. And we gave these to the guys in the boys in the booth and Allie to see what they think of them. So this one is. So it's the chocolate cookie, and it's got the red inside, and it's spicy. So that's what they think the packaging will look like.
And this is the one that may come out near. I think it's
This is
tasty.
coming out on Valentine's Day.
Well, it's not hot. There is a little bit of spice to it.
It's cinnamony.
Yeah, it does remind me of a mild Fireball candy when I was a kid. I love those Fireball.
You know what this
they
would
make your mouth
You know
red.
what this would be perfect on?
What?
Vanilla ice cream.
Oh my God.
Put it on top of vanilla ice cream. What do you guys think?
Well,
Garrett's still birthday cake, which is they've kept birthday cake now as a permanent flavor. It's so popular.
I know. I'm
That's
glad.
your favorite.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one?
I like it. It's not bad. It's no birthday cake, but it's right up there.
it's no birthday cake.
How about you, John?
Yeah, I think it's really good, and I like that vanilla ice cream idea.
I'm really surprised how good this is.
Yeah,
I like
I'm
it.
having a
Me
second
too, yeah.
one.
Usually,
Allie?
like Big Red numbs my tongue or whatever. This doesn't do any of that.
You know what? You're right. The big red gum.
Yeah.
Allie, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I like that. I think there's more cream in the middle too. Doesn't
Yeah.
it seem like there's a little bit more? Not so
These samples may have a generous amount of cream in them. That could be the way to.
So
do like cream.
I think
I
it's
give it
really
a
good.
thumbs up.
Thumbs up for the spicy. What was the exact name? Spicy cinnamon.
Hot and spicy cinnamon.
Hot and spicy cinnamon.
Now, on the
So that will come out right before Valentine's Day in 2018, and that's what the packaging
may look like. That's a fun one. This is good. I like these. These are tasty.
Yeah, these are really good.
On the list of special cookies, birthday cake came out in 2012,
Yep.
and it's now a permanent. It's February to July of 2012, and it was to celebrate the 100th birthday of the Oreo.
And it was one of the few that because usually they release these flavors and then they go away.
Yeah.
And this was one that
But
was
that's so popular.
they
Let's see,
kept it
Garrett's
around.
got great taste.
Well, I looked at here.
Yes.
You know what my favorite? Well, you'll never pick what my favorite one was on here. Of all the special favors, we've probably done
Root beer float.
15 of them. No,
I circled key lime.
that's my favorite.
Okay, it's right next to root beer.
The mint one's really good too.
So your key lime is favorite. Mine is still red velvet. Although this is a tasty. This is a
I
tasty.
like
cookie.
this a lot. Yeah.
All right, the next one up
So this next one will come out
in
right
our
before
correctly spelt
worldwide debut.
group debut.
Before Hoda, before Kathy Lee,
Wait.
before The View,
Always have to do it right before Hoda.
before Hoda, before Kathy Lee, before The View, before Cooper and Owen and everyone else. This next one is coming out right before Easter. Now, Allie had reminded us, you and I tried, they came out with a Peeps cookie, Oreo cookie last year, and it was pink inside. It was a vanilla wafer, vanilla cookie with the
make
pink inside.
everybody's-
And the rumor was that it was going to make your
Poop.
poop pink. But we never were able to replicate it. I ate a whole bag. Nothing happened. Brought them to people in the hopes of doing it. So these are, why don't you open these up then and let us know. So this is a different flavor, but this is marshmallow peep. Now,
For
it's
starters, the filling appears to be almost like purple. Yeah.
which I think is kind of odd.
And this is the first cookie. So did you notice that one side has a bunny?
Oh, it's embossed.
One side of the cookie is a
Or
bunny.
it's a peep. That's what it is.
It's a peep. And then the other side is the traditional Oreo cookie, but they created a new dye.
Smells like Easter.
It does have that marshmallowy. Let's see how it.
Hello?
Yeah, what do you guys think? I'm not so.
there's no flavor to it almost. It smells good.
Tastes kind of stale almost, like stale marshmallow.
The cookie is harder than the other cookies.
Yeah. Especially
right.
on the peep side.
Yeah.
It's like to make that mess with the texture.
Yeah, and I don't get any peat flavor through the cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peeps are like they're pure spun sugar, right? It's like a marshmallow. I don't know about this one. Are
Not a
we
favorite.
are we supposed to like?
Be honest.
Oh, be honest. Okay.
Not a favorite. I would definitely buy the cinnamon ones.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure about these yet. I don't know. You know what's turning me off? The color.
That must be a very hard.
Yeah.
When
I
they're
expected it to be yellow.
when they're engineering the food, color is a huge thing.
I
Like
expected it to be yellow. I mean, purple was kind of shiny.
yellow would actually look pretty cool with the
Yeah. They,
Well-
they say that Oreo cookies are popular with certain dietary restrictions like vegans because the cream inside of the cookie is not made from any animal products. But they said there may be some cross contamination. So we all give a 5 thumbs up for this cinnamon, right?
yeah. That
Hot and spicy cinnamon,
hot
which
and
is
spicy
coming out
cinnamon near Valentine's Day.
near Valentine's Day, and then the marshmallow. What was the exact name on that one? Can you read
It's
it?
just called Oreo Peeps with marshmallow Peeps flavor cream.
Yeah, that
The
one.
unique thing, of course, is the stamp of the
Right.
peep on one side of the cookie.
That one, the jury may be a little bit out on.
I'm neutral on that. If I had a choice between red
Ice cold
velvet,
milk and any of these, you'd be done with it. The whole thing would be gone.
no, if I had a choice between red velvet, birthday cake, or plain, I'd go with or these. Like I don't know if I'd even consider because I like these other flavors.
I don't think I've had the birthday cake one.
Oh my. Yeah.
Please
Now-
just leave.
Did
Yeah,
we
I
ever
mean,
try it on air?
Yes,
Did we back in the day?
When they first came out, we had it on the old platform,
2012?
and birthday cake tastes like birthday cake.
So next time I go to the store, Garrett, I'll buy you a little bag of birthday cake.
Did you know
Oreo.
there's 55 different flavors they've made?
55.
I don't think we listed 55,
But yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
You know which one I didn't try that I always wanted to try was the one that's Swedish fish.
Oh yeah, that was called the Goomy one. No, they
Although
just
I love Swedish fish, I'm not so sure how that would translate on the cookie.
yeah that was
Pumpkin spice one we did. We
that was
liked
20.
that.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Swedish fish came out. Mississippi mud pie is one I've never heard of before. That might have been.
Right. So we want to thank Chris from Mondelez who was able to get these to us. He also said when he gets his hands, that's a picture of him there when we were out in Equal with Volkswagen. If you're
Was
watching,
that after the Union Shakedown?
yeah, after the shakedown in Philly. If you're watching on our YouTube feed,
I think he's
or
got a
Facebook
Mondelez
feed,
shirt on,
he's
right?
got his Mondelez feed on or shirt on, and so he got his focus group socks, which he said his husband took.
We have to get him more.
We got to get him more socks. But he said when he gets his hands on some other sample flavors, he'll send them along to us. So that was a really cool thing and a cool connection for
So
us. And
if you had to give a letter grade to the two cookies, let's letter grade hot and spicy cinnamon.
I'd give that an A.
I'd give that an A too. Let's do marshmallow peeps.
C minus.
I'd go with C plus because I'd rather have the student pass. But I agree with you. C minus might take him down to the basement.
What are the boys in
do
the
you guys
booth and
think of
alley think?
the,
What grades you giving?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go AC minus.
Yeah, well, Garrett, of course, would go C minus because you know.
Yeah. He's
a
right
tough
there
one.
with Tim.
Where'd you get birthday cake?
Oh, that's an A plus.
A plus.
Yeah.
Golden birthday cake.
Oh.
Yeah. Golden, the golden cookie.
It's like the yellow cake. It's like a
There's
birthday
a dark
cake.
one too.
There's a dark one
Yep.
too, which is an A, but golden is A plus.
A plus.
Yeah.
Better mark that down.
That's where Garrett and I line up taste wise.
I
That's
really love these spicy ones.
yeah.
Had another one while we're talking there. So hey, thanks again to Chris at Mondelez, and thank you Mondelez for letting us have the what we're calling our worldwide debut of this Oreo
Worldwide
tasting
debut.
for cookies that aren't going to be out until 2018. And we give the hot and spicy our good stamp of approval. And if you like Peeps, you'll like the Peep cookies. We're not big fans of Peeps anyway, are we?
No.
No. So we'll pass on those and get some birthday cake for Garrett. So, hey, stay with us. It's the Focus Group with Tim and John. We're going to be right back. We're going to do a shop talk. And in this shop talk, we're going to talk about how to handle insults that come your way based on a format that Steve Jobs used when he got asked some tough questions. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Now back to the Focus Group with Tim and John.
Because he has a lot of chutzpah.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Heads are spinning, heads are spinning.
Listen, laugh, and learn.
I am not gay. I never have been gay.
That's perverse.
Welcome back to the show. John Nash with Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is the destination for all things about our show, all the platforms we're on. And if you're watching live on YouTube or Facebook, by all means, feel free to call and join the conversation at 877-962-6846. And, of course, you could always click on the deep discount. You get the pirate. I think I need to come up. You know, I was thinking about Jaws.
Why don't you animate it?
I was actually thinking about Jaws.
Well, that animating class, I'd like to see something come out of it.
I should come up with all I got out of that animated, a lousy,
lousy business card.
Every time I think of, but when I see the deep discount logo, I think of bum, 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 the Jaws, bum, 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 the music, how that did that. Anyway, Shop Talk. Tim found this article, and it was the best ways to respond to an insult, according to Steve Jobs. The incident occurred in 1997. Steve Jobs was keynoting a Apple Worldwide Developers Conference, and that's where all the developers came to talk about changes that Apple was making to code base or to programs. It's a little wonky, actually, and back in the day it used to be really just for the coders, but then they evolved and started doing product reveals there, etc. So should I read the quote?
Read the quote, and then we'll name we'll go through the 5 steps of how
to answer this. So Steve's on stage. Some guy in the audience stands up and he says the following: "It's sad and clear that on several counts you've discussed, you don't know what you're talking about." This is to Steve Jobs. "I would like, for example, for you to express in clear terms how, say, Java and any of its incarnations address the ideas embodied in OpenDoc. And when you're finished with that, perhaps you can tell us what you personally have been doing for the last 7 years." A little harsh. By today's standards, this is actually a softball compared to what, we hear on the
What would you have said? Somebody said that to you.
I would have tuned out everything else except that last part. And when you're done, tell me what you've been doing for the last 7 years.
Screwing your wife.
I would have been. Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
You got a great house, like your bedroom.
Yeah.
Your wife takes me there all the time. That would be. Yeah, we wouldn't want that. But.
Well, they go through the 5 steps that he goes through. And the first one was anticipate criticisms of your stance. So obviously Steve was there, as John said, to talk about this new operating system, right? And then they said that you should anticipate that you're going to be criticized. So that it says, simply put, it's easier to respond to an opposition when you've been prepared for it. So this is typical of any sort of PR thing. You're going up in front of the press. You're a politician. You're a business person. You're introducing something new. Sit around as a group and throw questions at each other. Here's what you might get asked. Here's what the issues might be. How would you answer this? How would you answer this? So they said, be prepared that you're going to be challenged, but preparation allows you to be able to answer it. So what was the second thing they said?
This one I like a lot, and I'm going to extend this to be something of a mastering this next one could be useful for a lot of things, and it's called Don't React Immediately. At the time of the comment from the troll, I guess they called the nasty guy a troll. And he wasn't nasty. He was just being extremely specific and oddball at that last one he'd been doing for the last 7 years.
That's nasty.
Jobs was already fidgeting with a water bottle on stage, so when the insult was finished, he took a swig from the bottle, looked down, and paused to gather his thoughts. Now, he probably already knew what he wanted to say, but there's a theatricality to the pause that says, I'm processing it, I'm thinking about what you're saying. And it's like if you're going to ever do public speaking, or let's say you're speaking to a group of your office coworkers, you're presenting an idea. Before you speak, take a deep breath and just count to 5 and then start. And you see it makes a huge change. So I like that one. Did you?
Yeah, I did too, and it reminded me of, I don't know, did you watch the Kennedy eulogy when Senator Ted Kennedy died? So Christopher Dodd, the senator from Connecticut, was really good friends with Ted Kennedy from Massachusetts. And they said to him, he said, Teddy, he was in a debate with Mitt Romney for senator, and he said, whenever anyone asks you a question, don't immediately jump in, think about it, be thoughtful, and then give your response. And they said, the interviewer says to Kennedy, you've been sitting senator for the last 24 years. How do you justify in your mind why Mitt Romney is so close to you in the polling numbers? And Chris Dodd says, and Kennedy sat there and sat there and sat there, and they were like, God's sakes, Teddy, are you going to answer the question? So they said after the debate, they went up to him. They said, when we told you to wait and be thoughtful, we didn't mean for like 3 minutes. He goes, what were you thinking about? And Kennedy says, I was thinking that's a damn good question.
I was thinking it's a damn good question.
Why is
are
he
you
so
close in the polling?
But they do say there that's interesting that and I agree. Don't react immediately. Get your thoughts together. And the third one says, give a broad opening line that feels favorable to the troll but qualified. So in the example they used here was one of the hardest things when you're trying to affect change is that people like this gentleman are right in some areas.
And that's what Jobs actually said.
Yeah.
And so what it does is I think it throws the questioner off a bit because basically you're like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
issues,
There's some issues with this rollout. There's a problem. And then this is the one that we talked about at lunch before the show today. And answer the question you want asked. Okay,
Right.
so it's a pretty classical political maneuver and incredibly effective. But basically, Jobs took this notion and kind of turned it into what he wanted to talk about. And his answer was, and as we've tried to come up with a strategy and a vision for Apple, it started with what incredible benefits can we give to the customer? Where can we take the customer? Not starting with let's sit down with the engineers and figure out that awesome technology we have, and then how are we going to make it to market? And I think that's the right path to take. So so this is a conference of engineers and coders. So he's basically saying, yeah, you're right-ish, but our point of view is customer-centric. And he just turns it right into that.
And then the fifth step was acknowledge the fallibility of you and your team, and then support both. And again, where he says, I'm sorry that Open Docs a casualty along the way. Open Docs is a casualty.
That was the program
along the way. And I readily admit there are many things in my life I don't have the faintest idea what I'm talking about. So I apologize for that too, but there's a lot of people working super, super hard right now at Apple. And we'll find the mistakes, we'll fix them. And I think what we need to do is support the team, which is going through this very important stage as they work their butts off. So it's saying, we make mistakes, but we're going to fix them. We're working hard to fix them. And we recognize the fact that we need to fix them.
So the brilliant part of this is, in my opinion, is that he didn't really answer the question, but he gave an answer. He gave a statement, actually, that kind of negated that point of view of the questioner. So he didn't come out and say, well, you're right. We put all this time into Open Docs, and now we're abandoning it.
That's not, you don't understand what we're trying to do.
Instead, he didn't even talk about that. It's like, well, we're customer-centric. We're not a bunch of engineers that sit around and make a widget and then figure out who's going to buy the widget. We figure out what a customer needs to do, and then we design the product that works best for them.
But I had said earlier before we did this that I like to do to throw you off. I prefer to, put the people off guard. And there were two things that I wrote down specifically when I read that last thing about doing the support and whatever. And there were two quick things. Hillary Clinton, when she was senator, they had Don Rumsfeld come before. Now, this is on a YouTube clip. If you ever want to watch it, go to YouTube and type it in. But Senator Clinton or Hillary Clinton is there badgering Don Rumsfeld about the mess in Iraq. And he's sitting there with his kind of head down this, is looking, and he's fidgeting. She goes, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, on and on and on, everything he did wrong. And then there's silence, and he's just sitting there. They're like, Mr. Secretary goes, huh? He goes, my goodness. And it totally, and you can hear the people laughing, because he tuned her out. And then they're like, he's like, what? Oh, he goes, my goodness. and then my other favorite one, and I'm not a fan of the guy, but Dick Cheney was in front of, I believe it was Tim Russert, but it could have been David Gregory. Same sort of thing. We were going to be welcomed as in Iraq. We're going to be welcomed in the streets with liberators and
the oil money's
roses.
Flow. Everything will be paid for by a barrel of oil.
There were no weapons of mass destruction. And again, it goes through this laundry list of problems with the Bush administration. And Cheney sits there with that shit-eating grin and just looks at him and goes, so? Because he's like, and they're like, so what? Can you answer it? He goes, what do you want me to say?
And what was brilliant about that is it's already water under the bridge.
So?
All the decisions were made. You can look back as much as you want and point fingers. He was right. My other favorite Donald Rumsfeld thing was there was a famous quote of his. In his office, he had a picture of North Korea.
Oh, did he?
On the wall, and someone said, "Why aren't you worried about North Korea?" And he points behind him, and he goes, "Because of that." And it was a picture taken at night, and the only lights in the entire country were in, I guess,
Dear Leader's house.
The Dear Leader's house. He goes, they don't even have electricity at nighttime. Why am I worried about that? Now, of course, it's years ago, but Rumsfeld was he the knowns that are unknown remain known.
There's no knowns. There's unknown knowns. There's known unknowns. That's his Princeton education.
Wait, I can see him doing this, like. What?
Yeah, there's like he's literally I'll have to post it to our Facebook page, but he's got his hand on his head, and she is going in for the juggler, and then
making political points.
And then it's like, Mr. Secretary. Oh my goodness.
Why can't we have that? Why can't we have that on Capitol Hill? Because I get that. Regardless of what party the guy's with, I get that. I get that behavior. He's being berated and browbeat purely for political points. He would rather be sitting having an ice cream cone on the mall staring at the Washington Monument. My goodness.
Like
country doctor, like
not exactly what he wanted to say, but we all got the point. So, hey, that was our shop talk. And we had a guestless show, which was one of my favorite things to do. John likes a guest, though, now and then.
We like to, guests are good, but I have to admit that, guestless works just as well.
Should we take, I didn't realize we had a call.
Sure.
There. Do you want to take a quick call?
Yeah.
Don in Orlando.
Hey, guys. I didn't realize it was so close to the end of the show either, but listen to what you're saying. I just thinking about, your surveys, not your surveys, but surveys in general, and especially with your United Airlines thing, Tim. I get so tired of talking to customer service, especially online, and they want you to do this survey at the end, and it's always about the representative. Well, my problem wasn't with the representative. My problem was with the crap that you didn't deliver or the service you didn't provide or whatever. I just wondered what you thought.
You're exactly right, and you're exactly right, because a lot of times
Trudy today.
I do feel bad about that, and I was making fun of the fact that probably English wasn't their first language, but my frustration is more with the fact that the system didn't work the way it was supposed to. It's not the agent's fault, because they're only empowered so much. But I'm the same way with you with those surveys. They're aggravating because they don't allow you to really critique what the issue is. It's just, was the person courteous? And I don't need to, thank you so much for your business and all the other canned lines that they give you. So for me,
and I don't want to put negatives down for the person I'm talking with.
Right.
If they did their best. And at the end, though, I have even said, okay, here's my issue in the little comment box, and my email and my name and my phone number. Do you think you ever hear from them?
Nope. I'm still waiting to hear from United.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on those surveys. I also hate doing the online chat with people. Comcast and Xfinity is famous for that one, too. And I always type in, I don't need all the nonsense. Well, how are you? I'm going to make it good for you today.
Well, that's just
and I promise you'll never have that problem again.
Yeah, okay. That's why
yeah.
Well, thanks,
right.
Don.
It's Dan. Listen.
Or Dan. My eyes are bad.
My eyes are bad.
I'm trying to read across the room without
Dan,
my glasses.
we'd like you to take a customer service survey when you exit the show today. And did Tim and John pronounce your name correctly?
It is Dan, now that I got my glasses on, I can read.
I did do the survey, and I also sent you a note, Tim, that Hocus Pocus was a good laugh, but maybe.
What was?
Didn't I talk to you about Hocus Pocus with Dylan McDermott? No, what was it? No, that wasn't it.
Home for the Holidays.
Oh, yeah.
So he watched Home for the Holidays?
You didn't like it so much?
Well, like you said, it's a once-a-year thing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about diplomacy? Did you just hear that? Yeah. Well, as you said, it's a once. That was the Steve Jobs.
And that's what I told you. It's a once-a-year thing, and you put it on, and you see all this dysfunctional family things that you're getting hyped up and ready for as November, December come.
Then you click off.
Yeah. Well, seeing Dylan McDermott was just an hour and a half of pleasure.
Yeah, that's good taste. You got good taste. I agree with you.
Well, Dan, thanks.
All right.
Thank
you.
Hey, it's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Ash. We want to thank you for joining us today. Are we done, John?
We are done.
We are done. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thanks if you watch us live. We appreciate it. And for those of you that time shift, we appreciate that too. We want to thank our friends at Mondelez that sent us these two
Thank
new
you, Chris.
cookies.
Thank you.
Thank you, listener Chris Hulse from Mondelez for the cookies. I want to thank Deep Discount. Be sure to head over to focusgroupradio.com. Click on the Deep Discount logo. Buy Home for the Holidays. Or get this.
Dan gave it a
once a
fair
year.
review. Fair review.
Listen, it's $10.
Fair.
And
Listen, it's $10.
Yeah. And also those CDs, the Ella Fitzgerald CD and ABBA Oreo. I'm going to get those for you. And then our friends at Volkswagen, of course, John and I will be going into our 8th year with Volkswagen as we cross into the new year. And we love the brand and we love their support of us and all they do for LGBT media. They've got some great deals going on right now for their end of season or end of year sale.
Yeah, great deals, actually.
Be sure to check out the two new products, the Atlas and the new Tiguan, which I love and
car.
I want to get. I'm talking to my friend Richard into one too.
Oh, now you got to talk into dealership into breaking your lease on the Crosstrek.
You can do it.
Okay.
You just move the lease.
Correct.
It's easy to do. Yeah, you just transfer.
Yep, I get you.
I know you don't want to do it because it's work.
I'm actually liking my wagon.
Okay.
We like the scale, and it's a kick-ass car on the highway.
By the way, I was getting 36 miles per gallon down to the beach. It was unbelievable.
When you get highway speed, and I love the car display, we'll tell you. Anyway,
so, hey, remember, don't text and drive, arrive alive.
Said authoritatively.
Said authoritatively. Have a good week.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.